Welcome to the video. My name's Chris Brewmed, and in this video we're going to talk Melanotan. So I'm going to take a slightly different approach to these videos and actually have some notes, because normally I just talk about a subject based on my knowledge on the subject. This time I wanted to get some real evidence plus my own personal experience, and that's where I'm going to go with a lot of these videos. What does the science say and what's personal experience say, to actually show you what it works like in the real world? Because a lot of stuff that works in a scientific setting, in a lab, is controlled. So it doesn't necessarily translate into real world experience. And that's when we've tried stuff, we can talk about it properly with some education at the same time. Melanotan is the tanning injections that everyone's heard about. It comes in either nasal spray or a little vial like this. So it's a 10 milligram vial. You'd normally mix with 1 milliliter of water, and you do a small amount of that, injected subcutaneously into the fat store. And you do that for about a week, builds up, and then you start going on sunbeds and everything else. So at this stage, pretty much everyone knows what Melanotan is. It's a peptide that helps bring the colour to your skin and helps you get tanned, even without sun exposure. So the reason why you see me with this sort of light golden colour all year is because I've taken Melanotan for a long time, to the point where I actually barely take it anymore. Before I get into my experience, let's talk about what the science says. How does Melanotan actually work? Melanotan is a synthetic peptide hormone that stimulates melanogenesis. Melanogenesis is the process responsible for the pigmentation of your hair and your skin. This is why often on Melanotan we'll see our hair goes darker as well as our skin. Although Melanotan has never actually been FDA approved, we know it works, and we know it has been safe long term because people have been using it for a hell of a long time now. And we also know that it has a very profound effect on tanning and on sexual sensitivity. So we'll get to both of those later on. There's a lot of more interesting things with Melanotan that you guys won't know about that come from when it's first world experience. So I'll get into that. Hang fire. Melanotan can lead to uneven patches of skin that go slightly darker, but that can happen anyway when you tan. And it often leads to your moles going darker. So if you have a lot of moles, it will bring them out more and make them darker. So some people can get a little bit frightened if they see moles getting quite dark. It's usually part of taking Melanotan. The more you take, the more that's going to happen. Obviously, if you're kind of going overboard, you can go this kind of dirty brown, which is not talked about enough. When you see people just taking way too much and kept going on the sunbed, and they go past tanned, past holiday tanned, and just look like they need a good wash. You have to be careful to modulate it. Some people go a little bit extreme. We know that. We know people do it with fake tan as well. So each to their own, but for most of you, just be wary that you don't go too tan because you look a bit stupid. There's been no long-term clinical studies done on Melanotan because it was never FDA approved. But we have got lots of long-term data from people using it anyway. And we do know it increases melanin, which has a protective effect on your skin. So I've seen it when I've actually taken it myself, and it was quite clear that I didn't get sunburnt when I went on holiday. I haven't done for years. I don't wear sun cream on holiday. And some people might say that you have to wear sun cream and all this sort of stuff. But most of the reason we wear sun cream is to protect our skin, and this offers a very similar level of protection until a certain point. If you start going to a 40-degree temperature and go out in the sun all day, you're still going to get burned, and that's just going over the top. Doesn't matter if you've got sun cream on, taking Melanotan, it's over the top for your organ that you're going to overwhelm with that amount of damage. So be aware of that. If you're just going to go out in the sun for a couple of hours and you take Melanotan, it's unlikely you'll burn. You'll probably notice you have a much better tolerance. The history of Melanotan is actually quite funny, and it's happened to me as well, so yeah, it's quite funny. So the Melanotan was first invented in the 60s. They tried it in rats. Then in the 80s, they started trying to use it in humans as a sunless tanning agent. But one of the things they noticed when they were trying to invent it and trial it was that the rats kept getting sexually aroused. And then one of the guys who was the main scientist trying to obviously continue the studying of Melanotan decided to take double the amount. I've done that by accident. Double the amount, and he got an 8-hour erection and it was really bad nausea and was vomiting. This is when we get into the simple side effects of Melanotan, which is actually the next bit. Like I said, it's rarely faked. It is often a nasal spray, which is less effective, or a little vial, which you inject. So you put 1 ml of water in there, you stick 0.05 or 0.1 milliliters in your subcutaneous area for about a week for the loading phase. Nasal spray, you just spray each nostril twice a day. That's mixed a lot weaker, so you have to take a lot more of it, and it's less bioavailable, which means the injections are better. But also understand that a lot of people don't want to inject. That's absolutely fine. That's why there's nasal sprays. Now going on to my personal experience. Does it work? Well, it clearly does, because I was really pale when I was working in Pure Gym all the time, and then I started taking Melanotan. This was like 3.5 years ago. So I started off with the 1 milligram every day for a week, and then you sort of taper it down because you start to get a bit of colour in your skin. Over time, it just didn't seem necessary to keep taking it because you sort of notice that you get a little bit paler and then you start taking it again and get it. That wasn't really happening. So I just took it less and less, and now I'll take probably one milligram shot a month, which means I'm barely even taking it. It seems to have a long-term or even permanent darkening of my skin, which is what I did it for in the first place. Because now I've been able to not go on the sunbed and I still keep this colour. I don't have to then go and excessively sunbathe. I let just walk to work and back, so I get a healthy amount of sun exposure, and it doesn't go away. I don't need to keep using Melanotan to keep it either. So the argument of, are sunbeds going to be causing cancer? Is Melanotan going to cause cancer? Well, actually, if you use it for a while, you need neither, and you're in actually a much healthier, safer position. So it's something to consider. And I'd also say, if you are someone who goes on sunbed a very lot, use Melanotan. You don't need to go on as much. Hammering your body with the carcinogenic effect of the sunbeds is going to cause DNA damage. It is likely to increase skin cancer. That is a given, because this is an organ. You're going to damage it and overwhelm its recovery capabilities. If you then started using Melanotan at a moderate dosage and now going on the sunbed once instead of 3 times a week, that's actually a much better situation, and you'd have a nicer tan and wouldn't fuck up all the blood vessels in your skin because you keep just hammering with the sunbed all the time. So be aware of that. The next bit is the sexual benefits. So I didn't know this with Melanotan. It was just a bit out of the blue. People say you take it at night time to avoid the sickness, and then you suddenly get this 8-hour erection. Because obviously you get them in your sleep sometimes as a guy anyway, and it just doesn't go away. It actually inhibits sleep. I would rather take it in the daytime because it's not really going to happen as much when you're moving around in the day. But it definitely does have an increase in arousal. It definitely does have an increase in sexual sensitivity, and it also definitely does for women. Obviously, women are not going to get aroused with this, fuck's sake. When it comes to women, the sexual arousal effects they will feel and increased sexual sensitivity when performing the act in itself. So you would both see an increase in your sex life, even if it was only for short term, because you're going to start using it less later on. But that is a little unknown side effect, but it's actually a pretty good effect, especially if you're in a relationship. You both enjoy it together, and you look better in the process. The last couple of points I want to go over is the fact it protects you from the sun's rays. It doesn't protect you forever. As I said earlier, if you start going to really hot heat and you're there all day, you're still going to get burned. But you would do that with sun cream on. You've just been out in the sun too long, doesn't matter what you do. So if you go in the sun with a bit of caution, in a lot of countries on holiday, for the most people, you're probably less likely or not likely at all to get burnt. Like I said, I've never worn sun cream the last 4 years, been on holidays like 6 times. And I only got slightly burnt in Turkey when it was slightly hot temperature, and I was out in the sun all day, one day. Other than that, I've been absolutely fine. And the last thing is the nausea. So it often causes nausea, which is why we say take it at night time. If you take an antihistamine, it usually clears that nausea. And for some people, that will help them sleep anyway. So guys, that's Melanotan for you. My personal experience, some scientific data, a little bit of history, how it works. Give it a go. If you're someone who goes on a sunbed anyway, you're already battering your skin. You will be in a healthier state and have a better tan by implementing Melanotan. And if you're someone who doesn't get to go outside very much, which was like what I was like at Pure Gym, it does actually give you colour to your skin without sun exposure. So bear that in mind. And sexual benefits. Have a good day. Go and get some Melanotan.